Welcome back to another episode of the NES Experience. It has been a while. This episode is actually brought to you by Functioning Audio and Camera Equipment. Make sure you get yours today. We have. And this episode, first one back in a while, we're going to be talking about something that we have already talked about a bit. We've briefly touched on it. Probably haven't listened to it if we're going to be honest with you guys. But, trust tree here. We're talking about high school lunches. And really, what I want to know is why we should listen to Ned talk to us about high school lunches, because he looks like he hasn't eaten high school lunch in like 2 decades.
Yeah, it's been a while since I had high school lunches. I personally was a fan of them. I wanted them to create a high school lunch restaurant where you could go back and have your fiestada, which is that octagon. Maybe you never had these, but they made these things that they were some sort of beef on it, but it was like ground beef and orange cheese, and it had the consistency of your classic Friday pizza, and they were delightful. And I was a big fan of the turkey loaf for Thanksgiving, the little Thanksgiving thing that they would crack on Wednesdays. So, for whatever reason, I think it's because my mom would only allow me to eat lunch once a week. I thought that school lunches were amazing. I don't know if it's a component of how I was raised. Um, but as I went into the field, and now I work with athletes every day, and we have some hefties in our sessions right now, and I have to dive into nutrition more with weight loss guys than anybody else. So weight gain is easy. If you're a stick, you can just smash cheesesteaks and candy and whatever you want, generally, if you have the right genetic code, and gain weight. Now, they have their own problems because they don't want to eat and they're never hungry. And those are definitely not us problems. But I have a couple linemen in right now. And when what they do week one, they come in and they start sending me pictures of everything they eat every day. Every meal, I calculate the calories. It shows me the spacing, when they're taking in meals, what types of stuff are they gravitating towards. So for 23 years, every single athlete that I've had has to send and text me their food. So I've seen what children eat for 20 years. And when I was going through this specific, he's a lineman. He goes to Ansonia. He is 5'9", 313 pounds. We will leave his name nameless. But for him, part of his goal is we have to get him down to 280. It's going to help with his speed, the mobility in his hips.
How much does he weigh now? Because I thought I heard 515 pounds.
Oh, only 313.
Oh, okay. I might have misheard. That's my fault.
5'9".
Okay.
313. That's more of the tuna can build. So he started sending me the pictures of his food, and we get to the lunch portion, and at first I wasn't getting any information, and I'm like, why aren't you sending me your lunches? Oh, we're not allowed to bring our phones into the lunchroom. And I was like, well, this is kind of creepy. So one day he snuck in and brought his phone in, and I see this picture, and it's the saddest looking salad I've ever seen in my life. So I text him back. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And he was like, that's my salad. And I'm like, no, it was iceberg lettuce, shredded cheese, a fried chicken patty on top, and a packet of ranch dressing. I'm like, no, that's a fucking, because iceberg lettuce, it gets a bad rap. Iceberg lettuce
a couple
is
pieces of bread, and that's a sandwich.
Chicken sandwich, yeah. But if we really start to look at this salad, you have iceberg lettuce has no nutritional value. It's 99% water. So what we're going to do is we're going to call that water. Follow me?
Yeah.
So now we've done that. So that's water because there's no nutritional value and it's all water. So that's water. So basically what you're eating is a glass of water, a chicken nugget with cheese on it that you dip in ranch dressing. So you're eating chicken nuggets, a fancy chicken nugget with cheese on it, and a glass of water. That is not good. So I was like, all right, well, that's not going to work. We need to figure out a new plan. So I decided that I want to get a deeper dive into school lunches and we need to do a full blown investigation. So, what in my investigation, we did 2 prep schools and 2 public schools. I power ranked them based off of my experiences. Every school, I had a different experience. So, we're going to talk about that today. And I'm going to talk about what I'm looking for the kids for options, because bad school lunches is a problem. There's a reason why everybody's overweight, everybody's got diabetes, kids eat like shit. They carry this on through their life, and everybody's dying. And it all starts with school lunches. So there's going to be periods of time where I might be ripping some schools. It is up to our video editor to edit out some key components. So I'm going to say all the words, and then we'll edit what we have to do to keep their privacy or them from being embarrassed, because some of these schools should be embarrassed with the dumpster fire food that they are serving to these kids. Are you ready, Dante?
Oh, I am ready, Ned. It's a full-blown investigation. Let's get into it. 60-minute style.
All right.
Dateline NBC.
But we're trying to get it done in 60 minutes, but it's going to be done in 20 minutes.
That was a bad reference.
That's true. Number 1, Choate Rosemary. This school, of course, you don't have to bleep out them because I'm promoting them. You can go to this school for the low price of $70,000 a year if you want a board, and only $57,000 if you're a day student. The reality of it is I do have athletes. The good thing about being an athlete is I have athletes that go there, but they ain't paying $70,000. There's some other unnamed people from probably different countries that are paying $70,000. My athletes are trying to get like 80 or 90% off. With that being said, it costs money to go there. It's one of the best schools in the United States as far as prep schools. I'm sure you've heard of Choate. You guys didn't play against them? They're in a higher conference, right?
We played them in basketball. Had a friend or two, a couple acquaintances go to Choate. Beautiful campus. I actually do think we might have. I don't know. There's one prep school that had like a little. It kind of was its own like little restaurant, like Brass Pro Shop. You know, like that little cafeteria they have up there, where you go in there. They have like burgers. It was like that, but in a high school. So we all ate before our basketball game, like 3 hours before. That was a bad decision. The food was delicious, and it might have been Choate, but it may not have.
They do have a little setup, like you said. It could have been, but
I think it was delicious.
First off, the reason why Choate is so fantastic is they encourage their athletes to bring their coaches to eat lunch. Because you're saying that, how weird is that? What 43-year-old dude rolls into a high school and just sits down and goes to town? But it is a common thing. So one of my athletes, she said, come have lunch with me. I'm like, it works out perfect. I'm doing an investigation. We'll see how they do. So reasons why, there's things that I'm looking for that I would like my athletes to eat within, reason that I believe should be, at a school to some capacity. The first is I had salmon patties, fresh salmon patties with some sort of ginger creamed sauce. The guy's making them right in front of me, just dealing them out. Not canned, not frozen. He's just smashing the patties, making them. I'm like, perfect. I think I'll have 3 of those. So a fish option. Now, fish, it's very tough. I don't expect all schools to have regular fish options. When I was at IMG Academies, they had fish every day, but that's IMG Academies, and it's at this point probably more than what Choate is to go there. But they had a fish option. Fantastic. And it tasted good and it was fresh. The second thing I look for is a slow absorbing carb. So we know that ultra processed carbs and high glycemic carbs increase and cortisol levels mess with blood sugar and increase risk of storing fat. So I'm just looking for a simple, slow absorbing carb. What did I have with my salmon patties? I had red skin potatoes. They were delightful, seasoned to perfection, cooked, tender, but not mushy. Delightful. Now we got veggies. Tough. When you look at veggies in public schools, it is very hard for them to do it right. So, of course, this place had Swiss chard, which is basically cooked greens. Super healthy. I'm not going to go over all the benefits of green leafy vegetables, but check that box. So we're 3 for 3. I go to the salad bar. When I look at salad bars, there's specific things that I'm looking for. And what I'm not looking for is a low-end buffet selection. Do you know what's at shitty low-end buffets? Iceberg lettuce, tomato, shredded cheese, probably cucumbers because they're cheap, and ranch dressing.
Ranch dressing is terrible.
Ranch dressing and croutons. I've literally been, because in my life I've been to a lot of shitty buffets, but I literally went to a buffet and it was literally those 5 things. Just big fucking buckets. It was disgusting. So you know, you want to have multiple options. And for my weight loss athletes, I want them on their non-lift days to have salads for lunch. But it can't be what you just heard or what that school that I'll be talking about later has. You want to have things with actual nutrition in them. So at this salad bar, they had an avocado bucket. They probably took 200 fresh avocados, gutted them. The dog's fucking biting shit. God damn it. All this dog does, he's eaten 20 of my Under Armour headbands. That's $360 in headbands. My Bombas socks. These things are, have you ever heard of Bombas socks?
Oh, yeah. Those socks are great. No
Bombas
free ads,
socks,
but they're great socks.
$10 to $15 a pair. This dog is eating the socks and throwing up my headbands and destroying. I've probably lost $1,000 in apparel by this dog. Sorry. Love them though. Adorable. Back to the avocado bucket.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And that's avocado is one of the NES wonder foods that everybody should have, that you can eat and lose weight. I've done my own studies in house, and not working avocados into your diet for calories, you'll lose weight, and they're high calorie, and people don't want to eat them because they're high calorie. And you can eat them, not work them into your numbers, and get where you need to go. It's free extra food. But red peppers, that it ranks very high on the list. Fresh tomatoes, beans, fresh fruit, lean proteins, literally grilled chicken breast. So even if the main items are less healthy, you always have a backup, and you could take, you know, a good carb from the hotline and the grilled chicken from the salad bar. There's no possible way that you can't go there every day and get a healthy meal that tastes good. So they checked every box, and then they had just crazy stuff. Like, I mean, there's the healthy. I was basically saying I'm overweight, I'm an athlete, and I need to lose weight. And what can my athlete have here, you know, for the choices? But if you wanted to eat like shit, there was like chicken parm, fresh made pizzas.
Chicken parm's pretty healthy. It's chicken.
Yeah, and then they drop it in the fryer.
Oh, well, okay, that's different. Homemade chicken parm isn't fried.
Really? That's not true. Fried cutlets.
It's not like you're dipping them in the fryer or anything like that. You throw a little olive oil in there, and you just fry it. You're frying.
Well, yes, if you are going to fry something, but olive oil has a low smoke point, and you're really not supposed to fry with that. But
well, I mean, you're not like frying. You just put it in the pan. You get it
fry,
a little crispy.
buddy.
You're good.
Yeah, I get it. Anyways, no, I know that's how you got beefy. Is all the chicken parm that you ate. It's probably your favorite food or one of your favorite foods. So this is supposed to be non-biased. So Choate goes into the number 1 in the power rankings. It was a great experience, and I'm going there next week for lunch. And if I didn't want to be a creep, I would start going there every week to get our money's worth. But we're going to move on to school number 2. So that's another prep school. And for the low price of $48,000 a year, you can enjoy this dining experience. So because I'm so close with this school, I was able I didn't eat in-house, but I had my athletes bring me 7 days in a row. So one Monday through Friday, and then the next Monday and Tuesday. I'll explain why it was 7 in a little bit. I had their food for 7 days in a row, and I only finished 3 out of the 7 meals. The reason why it went for 7 days is because my stomach was in too much distress to continue the investigation. So I'm going to leave it at that. When I was I pulled the menu up online, went through, made sure I tried to try as much as possible. They brought me things from the salad bar. I had their main entrees. I would say sprinkle the infield, which means like give me a little bit of everything so I could do a taste test. And it was something else. So out of the 7 days, there was only 3 days to find a quality protein source. And I didn't say good quality protein source. I said something acceptable enough to eat to help with your weight loss journey. I had chicken there. This chicken went from the package to the oven in less than 3 seconds. If there was a nutritional label on this chicken and it said sodium, it would say -17%. It had negative amounts of salt in it. It tasted like nothing. Embarrassing. Like angry. I'm angry. Now, seasoning is important in cooking. You're a cook. I cook. Now, when you look at, the FDA and everybody comes out with these recommendations, and when they were going through and saying, how do we make school lunches more healthy? Well, we need to lower the sodium. We need to lower the sodium content. Salt gets a bad rap. For me, I have children, a 7 and 9-year-old, and they eat grilled chicken basically every week. Once a week, that's on the menu. Dada's famous grilled chicken. How does Dada make this shit taste good? I have Everglade seasoning, which is on my story under nutrition. The best seasoning for grilled chicken. I originally got it. A lady used to go down to Florida and get it, but now we have technology and I figured out how to buy it online. I put too much of this Everglade seasoning on the chicken. So it would be a little bit high in salt, but salt's flavor. And then I cook it in a flat iron skillet because we all know that cooking cast iron is the way to go to make food taste better. Do a little sear on each side. Don't overcook it. Temperature it, season it. And my picky 7 and 9-year-olds have no problem eating grilled chicken breast every week. What's the sacrifice? A little too much salt. And what high school kids are walking around with crazy high blood pressure and risk for heart disease? None, because you can eat like an asshole when you're a kid. I used to go after school, eat 6 Big Macs, 5 Whoppers, because all the shit was like $1. Simpler times, different times. But not what our current situation is. So your body is resilient when you're younger and you're not going to have a stroke. And here's another thing. If you're an athlete and you're big and you sweat, you need more water. So it is more acceptable for a big guy that sweats a lot you want them to have an increased amount of salt intake because they're losing so much salt because of how beefy they are. Or any guy that's a sweater, you're not restricted with salt. You're losing it all. And all we're doing is replacing it. So my perspective is different than whoever. I'm out in the field gathering data, real life people every day, 23 years. Then there's the guy that's sitting in a room getting paid a whole bunch of money to generally push bullshit or create his ideas of what's healthy and not healthy. But let me ask you this. Is it more healthy to have grilled chicken with a little bit too much salt on it and seasoning, or a cheesesteak, or a double cheeseburger, or pizza. Pizza's the worst. We have Pizza Friday. Every fucking Friday is Pizza Friday, and it's not even good pizza. So this is unhealthy shit that they're eating because it's pizza, and pizza is an absolute dumpster fire. It's one of the worst things that you can eat. So I would rather have my 7 or 9 year old having grilled chicken that's seasoned the right way and cooked the right way with too much sodium than pizza with fucking pepperoni on it, which guts the whole concept anyways, because pepperoni is super salt. So that is the difference between somebody that's out here doing an investigation, receiving children's food, for 23 years, and somebody that's just not doing the shit the right way. Sorry for the rant on the chicken, but it really fucking fires my ass up when people can't. You're even throwing something out there. I only got 3 days of quality proteins, and you're giving me negative 17% sodium chicken. That's bullshit.
So what were the other 4 days? Like, what were the food options for that? What'd you eat?
I mean, a couple of the days there was no protein option.
So
So it
like
would be like
pasta?
pasta, standalone pasta, which the only thing worse, and what's adding to that standalone pasta, is it wasn't whole wheat pasta, and it's garbage. It's not healthy. No salt. You don't have to worry about over seasoning, but all that is ultra processed, high glycemic sugar that's going to cause them to store as fat. And if you are going to eat that, if you want to help prevent or make the situation a little bit better, you have to add protein to it. You always want to, if you're having a bad carb or carbs in general, by mixing protein and fat, it slows down the absorption, which reduces the bad things that happen with all your high glycemic, ultra processed carbs. So if you're going to throw that out there, then at least put something else with it to minimize the damage. And you're also fueling people not getting enough protein. So the worst thing you can do, and I've talked to you this before, is having just carbs for a main meal. Can't do it. The only time something should just be carb based is, your bar an hour before you work out. So what other they had, their only one good day was barbecue pulled pork. And it was actually really good. Now it couldn't go into the quality protein category. So on that specific day, yes, it tasted good. I would leave it on the menu because it tasted good. It ain't healthy because pork is not absorbable at all. It's the worst protein you can have. Rank order: fish, chicken and turkey, then beef, then pork. So it didn't make the criteria of a quality protein. And one of the days was sandwiches. It was turkey meat. So there was no options. And we had to veer off and get like a deli sandwich. And we got the turkey, but it was shitty bread. Back to my bread rant. So my other hefty lineman, he's 6'3", 370. 6'3", 370. He is not that anymore. He's 305. In our journey to get to 305 from 370, we were running into problems, which is another reason why I had to do the investigation with, because he was like, there's no good options. I'm like, go to the sandwich bar. And I'm like, you're at a prep school. Just get 100% whole wheat bread. Get whatever deli meat. Deli meat is not the creme de la creme of quality proteins, but we got to deal with what we got. And he's like, there's no wheat bread there. I mean, what do you mean there's no wheat bread? He's like, no wheat bread options. Oh, it's ridiculous. So I go out and I buy him 2 loaves of whole wheat bread. And I said, take these and give them and put them there. Put your fucking name on them. Shouldn't have to do this. It's prep school. This is $48,000 a year. Because we have to solve the problem. And in order to get to where we need to get to, your school lunch is hindering your ability to get to your goals. So it did not. Why is it number 2 and really could make a case for 3 or 4? It's like, they never put it together. It was like you could get a quality, tasteless protein option, or you couldn't get a healthy, slow absorbing carb option, or veggies. They bring in this. There was a couple of them, and they were all tasteless and bad. But there was this green concept, and I remember having the greens at Choate, and I'm like, let's go. Oh, it was spinach. I don't even like spinach, but I like shit that's green that's cooked, as long as it's soft and tastes good. I'll eat anything green. I prefer it to be cooked. That's why I like greens in general, and collard greens and Swiss chard and things like that. I bite into the spinach, and it was gushing with sink water. It tasted like sink water, and it like expanded in my mouth, and like juice and sink water came out of my mouth. I don't believe in wasting food. And I'm like, all right, we're going. And I'm chewing it, and I don't waste food. Like, you don't get to be the size that I am by like, I'm not eating that. I'm going to spit it out. Nope. So I'm chewing it. I just keep chewing it, and more water's coming out, and I'm trying to separate the spinach from the water. So it's kind of like I'm drinking a glass of water while I'm eating it, and it wouldn't break down, and it had no flavor, and I fucking yacked it up in the garbage can. And I never do that. I can eat some shit that doesn't taste good. You just chew it up and you swallow it. Like, I'm not picky. I could force that. I'm an adult, and I know the importance of nutrition. And if I'm at that school and I had the chicken with the negative 17% sodium in it, I'm going to eat it. And I'm just going to, whatever, maybe put some barbecue sauce on it or season it myself. But I don't even think they have salt shakers. I think those have been banned and outlawed to make the terrible food taste better. But I'll eat it. But not when if I'm a 16, 17-year-old kid, and I don't want to eat healthy anyways, and I'm cutting out all my junk, and I'm making big changes, and I'm trying to clean up my shit, and you're going to take me from all the garbage that I used to eat every day, and now I got to eat grilled chicken. Damn it, I at least want some salt on that shit. So the vegetables were just terrible. Like, if you're gonna serve vegetables, they have to taste good, because people don't like vegetables in general. You have to make it taste good. Went to the salad bar, got that one day. None of the top flight ingredients. It was an over glorified, I would say, old country buffet, but I'm sure you've never heard of that. That was something that was in the Midwest. But there was no that salad. If you veered over and went salad way, you got no protein. You're not having. There was some shitty carbs with it, and then your lettuce and your water, and then all your shit that makes it unhealthy: cheese, ranch dressing, and things like that. No eggs, no avocado, no chicken, no nothing. So it was like, you go in that realm, you're going to be hungry in 45 minutes, because there's no really nutritional value in calories in a salad, except for the condiments that you're putting on. And if you're putting on fruits and vegetables, they don't really have calories either. So damn, can I get some protein? No option. So the only good day was the barbecue pork day. They tried to make jambalaya. It was a jumbled mess, and just generally embarrassing. As I said, after 7 days, I was starting to have digestive issues. I almost shit my pants one time, and my goal is to generally not shit my pants. So at that point in time, I decided that it wasn't good for my physical health to continue, because the kids always say, like, dude, it messes my stomach up. I'm like, I don't believe you.
So
And
that's something that we said in college a lot. Like me, a lot of the athletes, a lot of the kids in college, and I hear a lot with college kids. I mean, maybe people that they have do it too, but I know in
you got to
college
bleep that out.
I will.
All right.
They put laxatives in the food, and like a bunch of our shit would like turn green for like about a couple of weeks after we got back to college, or like freshman year and stuff, and then you just get used to it. But then when I stopped eating the food, then your stomach feels better.
When I went to college, we would go eat it. Our routine was we would get done from school, watch Jerry Springer, because why not watch Jerry Springer? We would watch Jerry Springer from 5 to 6. We would go to the dining hall from 6 to 6:45, and then we would all go together to the bathroom. We would line 10 deep in the stalls and blow them up every day. It was like clockwork. And outside of sometimes people would be like, dude, I can't make it. I got to go. But as creepy as that is and how disgusting boys are, yeah, we ended up going and took a shit together every night. It was good bonding. But yeah, I don't know what was in it. I don't know if it was laxatives, MSG, but it wasn't like I had irritable bowel syndrome. So in the
MSG
beginning,
doesn't do that. I have MSG at the house. I use it when I make Chinese food. MSG is not gonna do that to you.
I don't know, whatever it was, probably the quality and the garbage that it was, but it was like, it didn't matter if you had irritable bowel syndrome or not. Everybody was going. It was like clockwork.
Yeah,
So I haven't investigated colleges, but high school, this prep school, just if this was a public school, it would be acceptable. Basically, they're a prep school that had food that would generally be appropriate. I understand budgets, I understand money, I get it, but for this school, for what they charge, it's embarrassing with the food that they deliver. People have complained about it before. You hear tales of their hot dogs bouncing 2 to 3 feet in the air if you drop them at a 5 or 6 foot level.
that's terrible. Now, a school name we don't have to bleep out, Kingswood, Oxford. As a graduate, I can say their lunches are fantastic. They're not on choate level, but they are much better. They always have a protein option. Salad bar is terrific. At least when I was there, I think it's only gotten better. Sandwiches, if you wanted to do a sandwich every day, they had two. You go into the cafeteria. There are two separate ways you could go. One way would have pasta and all that stuff, but then the other way is, you got your carb, you got like potatoes or rice or whatever, and then you got your meat. So you could have like, it would pretty much look like, your typical like almost dinner plate where you have like a good the chicken breast, or you could have like some good wings maybe one day, shit like that. But you'd get your protein, and it was nice. It was good. Actually, like a lot of the coaches who were employed by the school but didn't work at the school would like come in and like eat there and stuff like that. So, and like other people, it was open to friends and family.
Yeah, KO, I have some athletes from KO. They do a good job. Cheshire Academy does a good job.
Yeah.
The prep schools generally, and you should, but they do a great job. But we're going to spin into public schools now. This school, near and dear to my heart, really near. It's my children's school. So I know their lunch program in the Simmerline household. I am in charge of all the grocery shopping and generally the house nutrition. I'm the house nutritionist. So I know their school lunch situation because my kids get it every day. I get the menus every month. And I'm in the process of making lunch for my child. Well, one of them eats school lunch every day, and one of them eats from home every day. And it's their choice what they want to do. So I get to see kind of both ends. So, and I would like my younger one, but she's a real firecracker. I'd rather make lunch for her, and there's periods of time where she does. Right now, she's on the school lunch kick. It's all carbs. It's just pasta one day, breadstick dunkers, pizza. That's 3 out of the 5 days right there. And then they work in some shit. They try, and there's, some healthy options. But I talk to my kids when they come home every day. And the reason why my older daughter doesn't want to eat to the school anymore is because the food don't taste good. And the other one, which I have to get a deeper dive into, I think she's just eating a bagel or cereal because they have like a cold option, and it's carb fest. So, and I basically try and put rules like you can only get the shitty unhealthy breakfast once a week. It's like you're not fucking eating Lucky Charms every day for lunch. Like they have that out. But I've been too busy to really dive into what the hell she's doing there. But this is a good reminder for me to go back in and try and fix that mess, because it's causing more problems and she's more picky now with what she eats at home. And it's the reason why part of the reason why I'm doing this podcast, is because what you are doing there is affecting everything else and their long-term nutritional, habits that they're going to have. And my older daughter, who's eating at home, is getting better quality food, training habits, loves fruits, loves vegetables. I mean, picky on, we got to be rotating them all the time, but I will put whatever my kids need in their lunch that you don't like this, we're going to do something else. But it's an unfair advantage. But as a parent, you're going to have kids, maybe, probably, and you're going to start to pay attention. It's hard as hell to make kids, especially when they're super young. You can't rationalize and be like, you're going to get diabetes. What's that? You're going to have a heart attack. Alexi will fire something back like, if I die, I die. Like, but doesn't know. Just verbal diarrhea coming out of her mouth. So it's like pizza every Friday. And my older daughter, she's like, the pizza's not even good. I'll just bring lunch. I'm like, way to go. And then the secondary options are more carbs, bagels and cereal, and veggies. Their veggies, that's where you're pulling out corn, green beans. Like, man, those aren't vegetables. So they put out like fake vegetables. But I've had this school. I actually went to lunch with my daughter and had it, and it's not good, but it's all right. I'll eat it. I didn't throw it up in the garbage can. So they come in at number 3, and then number 4. And this is, remember I told you about the kid with the chicken nugget and glass of water?
Yep.
You can bet that this school is number 4. Coming in at number 4 is high school. So starting from the top, I have one school that encourages their coaches to come in and eat. I went to this school, when I'm speaking with these students, and I already told you they're not allowed to bring their cell phones in. I said, all right, well, can I come in and eat with you one day? And they're like, yeah, no, you're not allowed to go in there. Like, what is this? What is that? Area 51?
Yeah, they're keeping it on lockdown.
I mean, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to figure this shit out. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, I need you to bring me food. I'm like, I'll pay for it. How much is it? They're like $5. I'm like, I'm in. Give the kid $5. He's like, I can't buy it. I'm like, the fuck? What? Why? And he was like, because I get free lunch. And if you get free lunch, you can't go in and buy it. I'm like, okay. On to level 4. I'm like, give the $5 to a teacher and have her go in and get me the school lunch.
Why'd you pick a teacher? Why not just have one of his friends do it? That would have been easier.
The friends didn't want to do it. I'm leaving parts of the story out. I don't need people to stop listening to the podcast. But yes, the friend thing, nobody wanted to do it. So it's time to get an adult involved. So I said, give the teacher $5, bring this thing back. He's like, dude, it might go bad by the time it gets here. Don't matter. I'm a dog and I'm doing an investigation. I'm eating it. I'll heat it up in the microwave. If I get food poisoning, I don't care. I am eating one of your school lunches. Comes back in the next day. I'm like, where's my fucking school lunch? He's like, I told the teacher said that she wouldn't get it for me because she said that's embarrassing and she doesn't want to be seen buying the school lunch. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. I mean, so I never could even penetrate the 5 levels of lunch security to get even a taste. Nobody wants part of that shit. And they don't want anybody to go in there, and they don't want anybody to take pictures of it. And this is what happens in poor cities. And you pick Hartford, New Haven, Bridgeport, apparently Ansonia, and poor towns are serving such garbage that you can't even get it out of there. $5. I gave the kid the $5. I'm like, you get paid $5 for the investigation. He's like, nice. So
So were they all just too embarrassed, like they didn't want to be seen buying the cafeteria food
the
because it's
kids,
so bad?
his friends and the teacher didn't want to be seen buying school lunch.
But I can't, yeah, because you get $5 and I'll just go get the food, give it to. I don't
And
care
why is
about
this
to be
shit
like,
$5 anyways? Like, what are you? I saw that salad. I sent you a picture of it. Did you?
yeah,
Do you remember that?
I do. I'm gonna try and get the picture of it in the podcast for anyone watching on YouTube.
Oh, that's a great idea. Have
I
that be the
know.
headliner.
Yeah. Oh, brainstorm. I mean, that has to be some of the worst food ever to not to just yeah. I can't. I'm at a loss for words, honestly, because I've had some bad school lunches. I've made myself some bad lunches that taste like crap. It is what it is sometimes. But yeah, I can't believe he actually asked the teacher, and the teacher said too embarrassed.
Too embarrassed. So
Damn.
that makes me embarrassed for that school. So
Yeah.
why is this happening? Schools go for, I mean, there's a whole bunch of reasons. There's not enough money in the budget for good food. They don't have the right people trying to figure it out. I ended up speaking with one of my athletes. His father is a superintendent of a school. And I told him, I said, dude, I just did an investigation. I'm done with my investigation, but can you tell me your food situation? Because I just want to get more information and can't figure out why. And he was like, I told him my findings, and he was like, you have to go to my school and have lunch. And I'm like, dude, my stomach, it's finally stabilized. I'm like, I can't. He's like, no. He's like, I have a chef that comes in and prepares pizza, and we have all of these fresh options and this and that. And he was like, my food is almost as good as a prep school's food, and it's better than Hamden Hall's food. And he's a public school. I'm like, so are you telling me that if you have the control to be able to, you know, create a better food environment for the athletes? And he's like, absolutely. And his family, they're big on health and they're big on athletics, and he really cares and does a good job, and I'm sure he does a great job on all aspects of what he does. And he, was basically talking it through, and my goal is to get there in the next couple of weeks, so it can be done. But schools go for quantity, not quality, because we have to produce X amount of food for these people. What happens is, because the food isn't good, they do a low quality food with a high volume, and then they end up throwing it all away or whatever. If they're could be smart, give it to a homeless shelter. So instead of making less quantities of high quality food, they make larger quantities of low quality food, and then it gets thrown away. Budgets. So when you look at, there's no money. I don't know where all my tax dollars are going, but it ain't to the school lunches. Everything is ultra processed. Why? Because that's cheaper. It tastes better. They're giving in to kids. It's very hard to get kids to eat food, but they know that on Pizza Friday, high glycemic, ultra processed foods, whether they taste good or taste just okay to eat, there's going to have a huge response, negative response to the body's ability to function and operate optimally. So they go with the high volume. The more volume of food that you order, the cheaper it's got to be. And ultra processed foods are so cheap and they taste good, and they have a longer shelf life because you have, fresher food doesn't last as long, but they all kill you in the process. And when you look at what I brought up earlier, the FDA guidelines and what they're designing, it's outdated and shaky at best on their plan of what they're doing to try and have people or having kids eat this food, and nobody really cares. Nobody. Now, I can't say nobody, because as I said, I spoke with this guy, the superintendent, and it can be done, but the right people nobody's working. Everybody's just, it is what it is, and this is what we're going to do. Not to get political, but in 2018, Trump repealed the Hunger Free Kids Act that Obama created in 2010. Now, why is Trump in charge of nutrition? I
Now,
believe, doesn't he drink Diet Coke like a 12 pack a day? And doesn't he have McDonald's every day?
I mean, the McDonald's thing I believe was actually Bill Clinton back in the day, but maybe Trump as well. It's funny you actually bring that up because I was reading something the other day about him repealing that as well, and yeah, it's yeah. So do you want to explain what it did by repealing it? Oh no, you black. They took it out. Did they take us out because we were talking about Trump?
I didn't look too far into it, but there was a
I
decrease.
didn't either.
There was a decrease in requirement for the amount of whole grains that you need. So basically, eat ultra processed carbs. We don't care. And then it said lower sodium items, or lower sodium items. It doesn't matter if things have no sodium, but I guess people just decided, from what I tasted, they continue to roll with that. I don't agree with everything. The repeal was, parts of it were true and parts of it weren't true, but he shouldn't be the one making the decision on, what those moves are. So I don't think he helped with this whole process. And it's a problem still, and it's really not getting addressed. But it's not like this whole food lunch thing is a problem because of that. I just thought it was interesting that why would you have Trump make decisions about food? Because he's not really the model of health. But this was a problem before Trump got in office, and it's a problem that he's not in office. It's not a Trump thing. It's a school lunch has just been a thing and a problem for a long time. If you look at other countries, so what I did, school lunches, I'm like, this is an America problem, because if you go online and look at school lunches in different countries, it's crazy. They're all eating healthy. Everyone is eating healthy in the world except for the United States. Not everybody, but 20 countries. You go to France, you go to Japan. Like Japan, they're having sushi for lunch and like fresh fish, and all the different cultures are just doing a great job in putting it all together. And then you see America, and we're just a dumpster fire. It's crazy, but other countries are doing a very good job. We are not doing a good job. So what do we do with all this? You need to understand, especially if you have an overweight child, you have to make your own lunch. You have to bring lunch. And there are a lot of times when I'm going through with athletes, it's like, what do you got? What are the options? We look at the menu. I'll take the menu and I'll be like, I'll highlight the days you're going to get lunch, or you're going to get lunch from school. And usually it's like twice a month. And then the other, 18 days, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 days, 28, 85% of the time they're bringing lunch, 15% they buy. But that becomes even harder when you have poor kids and poor athletes that require the school lunch to be able to eat, because the reality of the situation is there's a whole bunch of poor people out there and they don't have money, and their breakfast from the school and their lunch from the school is their mode of eating. We got a whole bunch of casinos being built. We got a whole bunch of dispensaries being built. Why don't just add another percentage to that weed tax and have that be allocated towards, there's a whole bunch of percentages and there's a whole bunch of ways to tax people and do things to improve the problem, but they're not. But bring your own lunch if they don't have what you need, even if you are poor. I deal with poor people, and there's ways of doing it. 100% whole wheat bread. You go to the Freihofer Bakery in Naugatuck, and you can get loaves of whole wheat bread for $1, and you buy 10 and you put them in the freezer. There's your healthy carbs for the month. I'm not trying to push a whole bunch of bread, but I am trying to find gray area, healthier options that are going to impact their bodies less. Buy deli meat, real simple. I go to the grocery store, I do all the grocery shopping. When turkey is an outrageous $13 a pound, we ain't eating turkey. We're only eating turkey when it's on sale. And I'm not poor, but I budget and I don't want to spend a lot of money. It's the grocery stores are ridiculous. I'm spending $1,200 a month on groceries,
Yeah, it's
and
insane.
I'm only buying the deli meat when it's $7.99, $6.99 a pound. I'm maneuvering around it. Looks like we're having chicken salad. So my kid doesn't know this, but it's like she'd be like, I really want turkey. They don't have any turkey at the grocery store right now. No, turkey comes. Good news. The turkey's back in stock. And we don't know how long it's going to be, but we're going to eat a whole bunch of turkey right now until you're burned out on it. And then I'll find the next cheap protein that's of somewhat quality to have you take. So peanut butter and, jelly sandwiches. I mean, chicken breast at $2.99 a pound. $1.90, you can get $1.99 a pound. Buy 20 pounds, freeze it, ration it out. Don't buy turkey. It's $13 a pound. Don't buy steak that's $16 a pound. But you can, what we do, end of the month at Big Y, steak, $6.99 a pound, fucking 70% off. All right, I think I'll buy 8 pounds and freeze it. Not that steak is a great option, but having steak once a week is fine. Too much steak, a lot of anti-inflammatories. But yeah, you got to figure it out. Eggs, not right now. I'm going to have to work until I'm 80 to pay for the fucking $6 a dozen eggs. But you figure it out. There's ways of eating healthy on a budget. But you are really setting your kids up for failure nutritionally, body-wise, and their kids, because you're a component of how you're raised. If you never had water your whole life, because I had an athlete who never had water, he didn't drink water until he was 22. His shit was ran on Kool-Aid. What was in the fucking baby bottle? Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
He ate Kool-Aid, chicken nuggets, cheeseburgers, pizza, and candy, and chips, and soda. That's all he ate his whole life. But
Kool-Aid was really great. For some reason, that was the only kind of thing I could flavor, flavored water, the whole thing with it. I can't do anything else, but Kool-Aid, I messed around with as a kid for sure.
we weren't allowed to have Kool-Aid. My mom would buy Flavor Aid, which was some bullshit generic version of Kool-Aid. I didn't understand the concept. I don't want to make this about Ned's traumatic nutritional experiences from when he was a child, but she would take a packet of Flavor Aid and she would put water in it and 2 packets of Sweet and Low. And that I was pitched as that shit is Kool-Aid. And then I didn't know any better. And everybody's like, yo, Kool-Aid's fucking great. And I'm like, yeah, man, I don't think it's really that good. It tastes weird. It just don't taste right. I don't even drink it. And they're like, well, what do you do? I told them, they're like, dude. And then I get in college and that's where I learned what Kool-Aid was. I'm like, well, this shit's fantastic. And they're like, yeah. And they're scooping 3 fucking cups of sugar in it. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, well, that's why it's fantastic. They're like, yeah, man, it's really good. And I'm like, it's terrible for you. And I'm like, it is really good. But I didn't have Kool-Aid until college. And I had it 3 times. And I was just like, this shit's death. I'm like, I can't do this. So I don't mess with Kool-Aid anymore. And my kids have never had it, but at some point in time, they just learned, because when my kids were young, I wouldn't let them have soda, and I'm teaching them moderation. So having soda once in a while, I don't even like soda anymore. But I was like, Fanta is their jam. And that is our thing. So whatever, if it's their birthday or if it's the summer pool season, I'll get a 6-pack of Fanta, the little mini cans. But I mean, it's just liquid crack. Look, I get another Fanta. Dad. Let me get, no, this is a once a week thing. This is a special occasion thing. And they drink it and then it's just I want another one. That's why the world's having so many problems, because Fanta should be illegal. I don't mind a little grape soda with some beer every once in a while, but There you go, Dante. That is my take on school lunches. It is a mess out there.
It,
Hopefully you found some sort of entertainment with my research.
I still can't believe you tried to bribe your way into a school lunch for $5. I do have, I guess, two follow-up questions because I did ask some questions as we went, which is fine. But just trying to briefly touch, I had the Swiss chard trope. Was that just regular Swiss chard or was it a rainbow chard?
I didn't know they had rainbow char.
They do have rainbow chard. It's really great.
I don't know,
I've made
man.
it. Yeah,
It might
that
not
one's
even have
good.
been charred, but
Might not have been
it
chard.
was delightful.
No, that sounds good. How many? You said you had 7 meals and then you stopped because you almost shit your pants.
Yeah.
How many were you planning on having? 'Cause seven's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the way my work schedule works is I go in at like 2:30 and I don't get to eat until like 7. So I was kind of like, I'm doing this experiment and I usually lift before I leave and it's hard for me to get food in. So I was like, I'm going to do this experiment and the benefits of this is I'm going to be able to get free lunch for, how many long? I don't know. My goal, I thought I could go 2 weeks. So the goal was 2 weeks and I couldn't make it. But no,
Gotcha.
I don't think I wouldn't do that because it's a pain in the ass for the kids. And they thought it was they would bring it in. They had a ball with it. They were like, "Ooh, Ned, eat that, Ned." Ooh, they're getting their phones out looking for the facial expressions. They set me up on the spinach water, the spinach sink water one. Um, I actually thought it was worse than they did, but most of them didn't eat it anyways. I think there was
Yeah.
one kid who got it and he was like, it was all right. Like I got it down. So maybe he doesn't mind sink water spinach, but I found it to be one of the worst things I've ever tasted. Squash, they had like this squash zucchini mix. Like, bro, you're trying to give high school kids zucchini? Like my wife still won't eat zucchini.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
And who the hell wants it? Like, where's the breading? Where's the fried? And where's the cheese and the sauce on top? If you're trying to push some zucchini, you got to doctor it up a little bit. I don't want to see that gross ass skin on the zucchini. Nasty. And the squash, it was fucking mushy and there was no seasoning on it. Mess. I ate it because I got to get my vegetables in. It was edible, but I was just sitting there like, it's fuel. It's fiber. Help with my poops. That's what I had to tell myself. And if I'm going to a prep school, I shouldn't have to say, I'm going to eat this to help with my poops.
No, probably not.
You know,
But yeah, that sounds like quite the investigation that you put together, Ned. I'm glad it's now concluded and you can recover from some of the hardships that you had to endure.
thanks,
What would
buddy.
you have done if you shit your pants?
Been more annoyed. I did get to the point where I packed a spare pair of shorts, compression shorts for if that happened. So I got that in the truck. So if it did happen, I'm not going to say it hasn't happened before, but I have shit my pants before. So I'm kind of good at it. But no, I had the backup. I had the backup clothes in case that ever happened. But
There you go.
I felt that I didn't need any more information at that point in time.
Yeah, yeah, that makes that's really all the information you need.
You know,
Is just that right there. Um, is I just like at work, at my day job. I feel like I already know the answer to this. I'm gonna get chewed out a little bit, but I'll ask it anyways because we're probably over the time limit. But is there anything else that you want to add in to our now 49th episode of the NES Experience that was brought to you by functional audio and video equipment that malfunctioned once or twice while we were recording?
My hope is, Dante, that we don't take that 3-month break that we just did. I feel like we're both refreshed, revitalized. There's a lot more stuff to talk about. I think I needed it. I think I'm reinvigorated and ready to do great, honestly mediocre podcasts that not enough people listen to. I'm back. I'm back and ready, and we're going to be better than ever.
Love it. Number 50 on the horizon. That one's coming up next. I'm not going to put a time frame on it, even though we are supposed to release every 2 weeks. Because I do believe the last words that I put on the podcast were for episode 48, where we'll see you in 2 weeks, maybe even one. We'll see what happens. And then we disaster struck. We had some life get in the way. I gotta I think I don't know when the last one was. I don't know if I had the dog at the time, but I have a dog now. So
You just got it.
I got him March 6th or 3rd, March 3rd.
You have the dog for like a week. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll have the dog for a week. Yeah.
April, May. Yeah, it's been about 2.5 months. Oops.
Whoop. Time flies when you're having fun, and I guarantee you guys will be having fun listening to the NES Experience.